of all the things, because of the cost of living crisis at the supermarket when you walk in, is salmon one of the things you buy, Kel?
Yes, I do, actually.
You do?
Yes, I like... I buy Tasmanian salmon from Strawn, and I'd like all of those people to remain employed, please.
OK, so do you think it's a cheap form or an expensive form of protein? Compare it with chicken and beef and lamb.
It is a little bit on the expensive side, but it is so nice. It is, and lots of butter. You cook it and you just drown it in butter.
Can I just say, in my opinion, you could actually cook it in the butter, take the salmon out and just leave the butter there. Parnell, what about you?
Yeah, I'm a big salmon fan.
You're a big salmon fan.
I have a very funny story about my husband's and our first date and the RSL salmon, as it's now referred to. But yes, we do like a bit of salmon. It's a much longer story than
It's a much longer story. Right, Joe, come on.
But a lot of butter, Kel.
I don't actually eat salmon. I don't eat salmon, but I buy it anyway just to piss off the inner city Greens.
All right, so we're going to go to this. So you know, Labor's move to intervene on salmon farms is risking losing Greens' preferences. As you might have seen this week, the Greens ramped up their attacks on salmon farming. Here's Senator Sarah Hanson-Young waving a dead fish, which I worked out's worth, I don't know.
It was $83.
$83 worth of dead fish around the place. I trust she took it home and cooked it, really.
No, it's been buried in her garden, apparently.
That is just a meme waiting to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, no, apparently she buried it in the garden because of the volume of time it was out of the fridge. It was unsafe for it to have been eaten, so it was buried under a tree in her garden.
How long does it take to take something to Parliament and take it into Parliament?
Well, she had to sneak it in a pile of
barbecue and the DJ.
Also, as a proud ambassador for Food Bank, aren't we going through a cost of living crisis and a hunger crisis
Not
in
in the
Australia
Greens,
where everyone
clearly.
can't afford to actually put food on the table,
Well,
and
no,
she's
Greens-
just taken an
the Greens,
$85,000 fish,
Anyway, so the
decided
former
to waste it for a
Greens
political
leader,
stunt. Anyway,
Bob Brown, has vowed to make Labor pay at the
you.
polls for its salmon legislation. This is what he said by ramming through protection for the polluting Atlantic salmon companies in Tasmania. Both Albanese and Dutton have catapulted the environment back into the headlines. You could hear Labor and coalition votes washing away from the Greens and Independents. It was a Labor Liberal own goal. Right, I want to take you to a photograph, and this is the photograph I want to take you to. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this out of the Australian over the weekend, and really what we saw is this through the Kosciuszko National Park. What this is the line, the high voltage power lines being built through the Kosciuszko National Park to hook up Snowy 2.0. Where's Bob Brown on all of this, I would suggest?
Yeah. Doesn't it remind you of that great line from the Vietnam War of we had to destroy the village to save it? We have to destroy the planet to save it. No one believes that. Australia cannot control the global climate.
Nope.
It's out of our control. This hysterical idea that if we do all this ridiculous stuff, we will save the planet is just irrational nonsense. I think it is rapidly moving towards becoming an 80-20 issue, so that there'll be 20% who will remain fanatical about this. But I think a whole lot of really ordinary Australians who just use common sense are starting to think, hang on, it's more important that we look after us.
Well, common sense is that we need enough energy, but common sense also says, hey, did you actually realise the consequences of actually trying to hook all of this solar and wind?
Chris
and all
Bowen has not worked out the sun sets every night, and that's when solar stops working. I mean, it is not reliable.
Parnell?
And as we're seeing in the NT, the grid falls over when
we'll get to that in a moment. Yes, we do want to get to that.
They're working on it.
So that's right. But it's all about the optics of this, isn't it, really, Joe? I mean, you go through to the optics and, the optics are pretty important in this.
Yeah, well, I think this is why people get hysterical on both sides. I mean, obviously, solar farms have an environmental impact, wind farms have an environmental impact, coal mines have an environmental impact. Of course they do. The question is just which is worse than the other and which produces more benefit to the cost. I mean, it's just as simple as can be. But on the salmon, which I can't get enough of, I love the fact that Bob Brown is playing the race card when it comes to the salmon.
What?
Because,
I missed that.
It says, by ramming through protection for the polluting Atlantic salmon companies in Tasmania. So he's playing the parochial Tasmanian. These Atlantic salmons coming from an ocean that we're not even in. They're coming down. We grew here. You swam here.
I have a great point from my husband on this. Can I just bring this one up? You know this skate, which is apparently endangered and all of this.
That's right.
So my husband, of course, being a little bit autistic as he is, decided to look this up. And this salmon, this skate was first discovered discovered in 1988, 30 years after the salmon farms had been established.
Yep.
So did the skate come for the salmon?
But
Chicken or egg, skate or salmon, which one came
knew
first?
this thing was there. It won't live anywhere else. It refuses to live anywhere else except Macquarie Harbour.
Fat globules.
That's where I would go if I was a
like a few
mortgage.
seals that might actually be in a feed out of the salmon farms. Anyway,
That's how
could be. Anyway.
That's how